Hi, hello, it is Reen here. It has been a while, but today I am going to be talking about my anticipated releases for 2025. I know that we are left with about a week and a half of January left, but it's okay. We are going to talk about my 2025 anticipated releases. I am doing this because number one, I think it keeps me accountable on what I am actually looking forward to, at least for the half of the year. And then second of all, it also reminds me of what books are coming out as well, so it's really helpful. Am I focused? Yeah, okay. I'm going to be starting the video from January all the way up to June, and then when it comes June, July, I will post another one of the anticipated releases that is going to be coming out from July to December. But as for now, we're going to only focus on the first half of the year. The very first book that I'm going to be talking about is The Queen of Fives by Alex Hay. This book is a gothic historical romance set in 1898, and in this book we are following a con woman called Kwan. She is attempting her biggest heist yet, which is going to be masquerading in a ball, and she is going to try to seduce the Duke, and she is also going to try to capture his wealth. And we follow along her story to see whether or not she's successful and whether or not her heist is a fruitful one. And I really love gothic fiction. I think it is one of my most favorite genres, and it pairs along very nicely with historical, which is another thing that I really like as well. I think the atmosphere of it and the very descriptions of it really just adds to the layer of depth that I love in a historical gothic fiction, and I think it's really immersive as well, so I'm very excited for that. Then we are moving into February, which is, I think I'm going to be reading a lot of romance because it is appropriately so. The first book that I'm really excited that comes out in February is Greenteeth by Molly O'Neill, and this book is about two women. One is considered a monster and she lurks down beneath the lake. She is green and she has like fangs as well. The other woman that we follow is a witch, and she is being thrown into the river because her village is turning their back against her. Jenny Greenteeth, which is the monster that lies below the lake, for whatever reason determined to save her from drowning, and we follow their intertwined stories from there. I think the cover itself is gorgeous. It is such a beautiful green. I love it when we talk about women friendship, sisterly love, or like found family. I love that sort of thing, so I'm just really excited to get my hands on this book. The second book that I am excited to get my hands on is Tears of the Wolf by Elisabeth Wheatley. Elisabeth is actually a booktuber on YouTube that I follow as well, and she is absolutely hilarious, so I am really excited to read her upcoming book. She markets it so much better than I ever will, but this book is basically about a fantasy romance. It is almost like a second chance of love. We follow Bryn, a sorceress who comes from a long line of history and family who are also great sorcerers and sorceresses. All she ever wants is just freedom. She doesn't want to be controlled or pulled by anyone else in their schemes. She will do whatever it takes to gain that freedom, and it is kind of a arranged marriage to our male main character, which is called Senric, because they get into an arranged marriage so that they both get what they want for now. There's a lot of tropes that I'm very interested in that is included in this book. The first one is obviously arranged marriage. I think that kind of proximity kind of forces you to get to know that person because you're always together. Apparently there's also a really nice companion of a dog, which I love because I am such a dog person, as you can tell. She's on my lap. She is so cute. Oh my god, I'm really excited that there's going to be a dog. I think that's one of the main selling points for me. The next book that is coming out in February is The Amber Owl by Juliet Marillier. This book is about a fantastical world that is also about fairies. We follow the main character Stasia, who is kind of like I guess she is an outsider because she stays bordering the village. She doesn't actually stay in the village because the villagers kind of see her as an odd one. She can talk to animals, which is a gift that she really treasures, but there is unrest that is following her days in the village because a group of soldiers start to come in because they want to try to go to the Heartwood Forest, which is home to many monsters, a lot of magical creatures and animals and plants, and nobody has ever gone in there and come out alive. So she has made a promise that she would never let any harm's way come to the forest, so she is going to try her hardest to try to protect the forest, and then we follow her story from there. I think even from the cover, and this is coming from someone who really judges the book by its cover because I am such a visual person as well. As much as I am a literary person, I am also very much a visual person, and I think this cover already gives such fantastical, immersive and descriptive vibe. It also sounds kind of like grim fairy tale-esque almost, and it also feels kind of reminiscent of classic fairy tales, so I'm excited for that. The last book that I'm excited that's coming out in February is another gothic fiction. It is called The Woman in the Wallpaper by Lara Jones. This book we follow Sophie and Lora after the death of their beloved father. This is kind of a prophecy kind of story almost. That kind of adds to the gothic element where it kind of everything is foretold and everything is unfolding right before their eyes. They accept work at a company called Oberst, and they work in a famous factory for wallpapers, although they noticed a bit of a mysterious trend going on because in every single wallpaper there is a woman. This woman is the late wife of the owner, and it seems to foretell a dark ending or a foreshadowing of a very grim ending. Mysteriously and unfortunately enough, it is unfolding right in front of Sophie and Laura's eyes because they seem to think that the events that is happening in real life is mirroring the woman in the wallpaper. Now this sounds deliciously gothic, deliciously mysterious. On to March, I've only got one book that I'm excited for, which is The River Has Roots by Amal El-Mohtar. And this book we follow a pair of sisters. I am a sucker for sisterhood and like sisterly stories because I myself have a very cherished sister. Here we follow two sisters who are part of the Hawthorne family, and they live at the edge of their fairylands in this world. They earn their keep by harvesting magical flora, which is like willows. They also sing to them because they give thanks for their magic. The sisters are called Esther and Isabel, and we follow their story. Esther tries to reject a forceful suitor from the fairylands, and it does not go down very well. This is going to test the sisters' strength and bond as we follow their story from there. This sounds really dark, but also I feel is going to be really wholesome because if anything, I think sisterhood is one of the best kind of stories that I love to read about. This is a novella. It says here that there's only 144 pages, so I'm surprised. It's going to be quite quick of a read, but I love it when stories are short because I think it is quite difficult to tell a profound story in such limited pages, so I'm excited to see how this one will unfold. Next we go into April, and the only thing that I'm excited for April is The Sirens by Emilia Hart. I haven't read any of the other authors' backlist, but I have heard really good things. I heard that her writing is spectacularly descriptive, immersive and also imaginative, so I'm excited for that. This book is going to be mermaidy, and because obviously it's called Sirens. Again, this is talking about a sisterhood, but this time it follows a parallel of timelines, so there's going to be one in the present day and there's also going to be one in the past. We first follow Lucy, who awakens in a stupor to find herself she is strangling her ex-lover in the middle of the night, which she is incredibly shocked and horrified to find this out. She believes that the only person that could cure her is her sister that lives in New South Wales. However, upon arriving at her sister's place, she finds that she is missing, and we follow that mystery from there. At the same time, we also follow the past timeline of two sisters who flee Ireland into Australia. They find that the further away they get from Ireland, they have really weird changes and unexpected changes that are happening to their body, and we follow their story from there. I am really excited because I really like dual timelines as well, especially if they're done and executed well, because otherwise it would start to look very messy. But I have high hopes for Emilia Hart because I have heard really good things about her writing, her books, and her imagination. Then we go into May. The first book that I'm excited that is coming out in May is The Lady in the Lake by Jean Menzies. I love Greek mythology. I am such a classic, as in Roman or Greek inspired person, because I just find their tales and their stories so fascinating, and I follow Jean on YouTube as well, and I really love her books. I bought her previous Greek mythology kind of anthology, and I am loving it. I read it really quick in one sitting, so I'm really excited to read about this one. In this book we follow Lady Vivian, Greek retelling books, so I'm excited that she is going to have a retelling this time for Arthurian legends. This time we follow Lady Vivian, who leaves the lakes of the north for the splendor of Camelot, and I am already so excited for this. I am not very familiar with Arthurian legends, but anything that Jean comes out with I will devour, because I love her writing and I love the way that she explains things, and she's very in-depth with her research as well, so I'm very excited. The less I know about this, the more intrigued I am, so I'm just going to leave it at that, but I hope that you're excited for this book as well. The next book that is coming out in May is The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. I have heard really good things about Rachel Gillig as a romantasy author. I have yet to read her One Dark Window series, but we follow Sybil, and all she ever wants to do is to dream no dreams, because apparently she dreams a lot. In her dreams she can predict omens because she is a diviner. All she ever wants is to just not dream, because she doesn't want to foresee terrible things happen in her life. She doesn't want to be anywhere near tragedy, and one by one her diviners, her friends who are also diviners, are disappearing. They're vanishing without trace. Coincidentally, a irreverent knight has just popped by and is willing to help Sybil in her journey in finding where are the lost diviners, and then we follow the pair from there. Ooh, I also find out that she also has a sister, which is very on brand because I really love sisterhood stories as well. This is a romantasy, so I'm excited. I think it provides really good escapism. I'm getting giddy just thinking about it. Last but not least, for May seems to be a good publishing month for me, at least for the ones that I'm excited about, is The Awake in the Floating City by Susanna Kwan. Bo lives in quite a abandoned city, but she clings on to the hope that one day her mother may return from a storm, but as she is losing hope, the next door elderly neighbor Mia asks her to be her caregiver. From there, Bo learns historical stories of the city, rediscovers the art and the meaning of staying in a city and preserving their culture. Through Mia's stories, Bo is changing her perspective on leaving the city and is rather determined to save the city from vanishing from everyone else's mind. This sounds so fascinating. I love it when we talk about history and art and culture. I love those kinds of books. And also, this is labeled as science fiction / dystopian / climate change fiction. These are all genres that I don't normally gravitate to. However, I have heard good things about this book. The cover itself kind of gives really tranquil and quaint vibes, so I'm gonna see how does that translate to the book itself. I mean, the book's premises sounds really fascinating and it sounds really whimsical almost and charming, so I'm gonna see how does this book unfolds itself. Last but not least, we have June, and there's only one book that I'm excited for, which is The Blood Phoenix by Amber Chen. This is the second book in the Fall of the Dragon series. I did just read her first book and her first debut novel, which is Of Jade and Dragons, which is the first book in the Fall of the Dragon series. In the first book, we follow Ying after she witnesses the murder of her father right in front of her eyes. Her father is a famous engineer Emilia in this famous association called the Engineers Guild. Her father never talks about his time in the guild, which is kind of bizarre if you think about it. So she made a vow to herself that she's going to avenge her father's death, but on her journey towards the city of the Engineers Guild, she meets one of the princes who is governing the world, called Yang. There is kind of like a slow burn romance going on in the first book. However, I would like to say it's not the main focus, but in the second book we continue that story. At the end of the book we follow Ying. She finishes her exams. There is kind of war that is brimming on the surface, and she wants to try to stop this war because she doesn't believe in war and she doesn't want to have any violence. So we follow her and her group of friends to try to stop this war, and whether or not if there's any closure with the romantic interest Yang. And yeah, that is all of the books that I'll be talking about from January to June. I am so excited for the first half of the year. Also, just to keep myself accountable, I am hoping to read 100 books this year, so I am really excited. So far I've already done like 7, so I am very happy with that number. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, evening, night, whatever time you're watching. I'll see you very soon, and tell me, what book are you anticipating and what book are you excited for 2025? For the meantime, I'll see you very soon. Bye!